Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2023 3-game match reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the last 3 games from round 8. And those games are Port Adelaide vs Essendon, Collingwood vs Sydney and North Melbourne vs St Kilda. Alright, so the first game of this 3-game match reviews was probably the best game of the Sundays, and it did look to be the pick of the Sunday games as well from what I thought. A danger game for the Power, and well boy, it did act like one. Port Adelaide 12-20, 92, defeated Essendon 13-9, 87. They win by 5 in the end of the Power, but I think they dodged a bullet there. I think they dodged a real bullet in the end. Inaccuracy could have easily cost them in this game. Essendon kicked more goals. It was an absolute thriller in the end. However, despite a domination for most of the game from the Power, it was the Bombers that still looked and shaped the better side scoreboard-wise for most of it. It was Essendon that owned the first 2 quarters, I felt, and they were lucky that they had accuracy on their side as well, because Port 5-11 at half-time, Essendon 9-1. The first quarter was Essendon dominant. The second quarter, I still feel like, despite Port Adelaide winning statistical areas, I still felt like Essendon did win the quarter. However, you could put a good case for both sides winning the quarter, really. Third quarter, that's where Port Adelaide come back into the game, and I believe they take a lead, or maybe even... I think it was 1 point lead at 3-quarter time, 9-16 to 11-3, and 2 goals 6 in the last term for Essendon. Again, inaccuracy for them in the last quarter, despite having an inaccurate day. It did cost them in the last quarter, and yeah, there were a few little crucial moments in that last quarter which really could have decided the game, but in the end, Port Adelaide win this one by 5 points. 120 fantasy for Merritt, 117 for Parrish, 111 for Buzz, 102 for Drew, 101 for Langford, who played a big game. 2 goals for Junior, Dixon, Burn-Jones, Wiedemann, Stringer, Perkins, Langford. 1 goal for Finlayson, who didn't have his best day in front of the sticks. 37 disposals for Parrish, 29 for Rosie, 28 for Buzz and Merritt. Marks now, 10 for Langford, 8 for Williams. Tackles, 10 for Merritt, 8 for Drew. 24 hit-outs for Draper, 21 for Phillips, 14 for Teakle, 9 for Dixon. So, again, Draper and Phillips did comfortably beat the Port Adelaide Rucks. And inside 50, 65 to 47 after Essendon dominated that area early. Port Adelaide in the last 3 quarters of the game got the game on their terms, and it was quite like, when you talk about last 3 quarters of the game, it's quite a big area, and that's where they managed to turn those inside 50s around from an Essendon dominant point of view to a Port Adelaide dominant point of view. Clearances, 23 to 45 hit-outs to favour Essendon. We knew they'd smash them in that area when there's no Lysette playing. 34 to 36 clearances was a big one. 9 to 18 out of the centre, which included the first 6, and they were 1 to 9 at one stage, were Essendon. They absolutely smashed Port Adelaide out of centre. Should have hurt way more. Should have put more scoreboard damage than they did. 25 to 18 stoppage clearances as well. Not too much more. Way more marks as well, Port Adelaide. 101 to 73. 17 to 11 marks inside 50. 22 to 7 contested marks. Now, despite only leading for a quarter of this game, Port Adelaide, and despite missing a lot of chances as well, they are very lucky that inaccuracy did not cost them this time, but this was a thrilling game. Collingwood vs Sydney was the next game, and this one was an interesting one. Collingwood did lead for most of it, and in the end, Collingwood 11-11, 77 defeat Sydney 6-12, 48. Collingwood by 29. Now, this was another low-scoring game, and there's quite a few. The next game as well, I'll give you a little spoiler, is a low-scoring game as well. And Collingwood, They definitely owned the first quarter. Didn't see too much of the first term. In the second term, though, that is where Sydney brought it back. They kicked 4 goals to 1, and including Mark Sheeter, I believe his name is. His first debut goal in some sort of fashion. Score review, and very lucky to be a goal. Third quarter, not a lot went on. Goalless term for the Swans. They kicked 2 behinds. Collingwood kicked 2 goals. And in the last quarter, 1 goal for Sydney and 5 goals for Collingwood. And that's where they well and truly end the game. There were definitely some highlights in this game. Errol Goulden, 161 fantasy, 1 behind, 37 disposals, 13 marks, 4 tackles. Had a beast of a game. 107 fantasy for Parker, 110 for Mills, 108 for Lloyd, 101 for Florent, 99 for Warner, 98 for McLean. All those players Swans. The first pie was Scott Pendlebury on 92 fantasy. Goals behind, Brody Mytek was the one that lifted his side to victory. He kicked 5 goals for him, and he was the only multiple goal scorer on the ground. Other goal scorers include McDonald, Papley, Frampton, Hayward, Elliott, DeGoey, Ginnivan, Hoskin, Elliott, Johnson, McLean, Sheeter, and Clark. We'll go disposals now. 37 for Goulden, 34 for Parker, 31 for Pendlebury and Mills. Marks now, 13 for Goulden, 11 for Florent, 9 for Quainer, McInerney, Mills. Tackles, 6 for Lloyd and Rowbottom. Hit-outs, 32 for Frampton, 14 for Cox, 10 for McLean, 9 for Latham. So both these sides not going into a game with a recognised ruckman. Sydney had way more of the footy, 354 to 432 disposals. Used handball way more as well, 132 to 186, 56 to 54 inside 50s, 56 to 44 inside 50s, in favour of Collingwood. 46 to 19 hit outs, as I said. No sides went in with a recognised ruck, but Frampton has gotten used to playing that role. Clearances 35 to 30, 11 to 6 out of the centre for Collingwood, 24 apiece for stoppage clearances. Swans had way more uncontested footy, but as you can see here, I'd be assuming this would be in their back pocket. Midfield area. Right, marks. Sydney took way more marks, 72 to 132, but more marks inside 50. Collingwood 13 to 12, and Collingwood led for just over 3/4 of this game. And once they did get on top, 22 to 6 tackles inside 50 as well. But once they did get on top of this game, 3/4 time, they just managed to fly away in the last, thanks to Brody Mychek. And now to the game, which is not long ago finished at Marvel Stadium between North Melbourne and St Kilda. North Melbourne 4-10-34, got defeated by St Kilda 8-16-64. Didn't watch too much of this game. It was quite a boring contest, really, being completely honest. And despite North Melbourne being in it for really the whole game, it was just one of the most scrappiest inaccuracy contests. Like you can just understand what I'm talking about. First quarter, 0-4 North, 1 goal 6 St Kilda. Their goal came late in that first term. In the second quarter, that's where St Kilda get out to their nice little 20-point buffer at halftime. North 0 goals 7. St Kilda 3 goals 9 at half time. In the third quarter, that's where finally the scoring starts to open up. North kicked 3 goals, St Kilda kicked 3 goals as well. 3 goals straight for North, 3 goals 6 for the Saints, so they still win that quarter. And in the last quarter, 1 goal to 2. They blitz away pretty comfortably there, do the Saints in the last quarter. And it's only a 30-point win against one of the bottom sides in the competition, but when you're playing a scrappy game like that, a 30-point win when you nearly double North Melbourne's score is still quite a big and valuable win. 168 fantasy for Zeeble, who was the best player on the ground. 36 disposals, 18 marks, 4 tackles. 128 fantasy for Shields, 127 for Stocker, 125 for Wanganeen Miller, 101 for Wilkie, 100 for Goldstein and Owens, 98 for Sheasel, 3 goals for Larkey, who again kept his side in it. And Larkey's so reliant in that North forward line. He kicked 3 of their 4 goals. He kicked 3/4 of their goals today. He's their main vocal point up forward. It's him and Zerha, which are really the targeted ones up forward. 2 goals for Higgins and Butler. The other goal scorers include Sharman, Owens, Stevenson, Sinclair. Wood, Zerha, 3 behinds, missed some of his chances. 36 disposals for Zeeble, 34 Sheasel, 28 for Shields, Wanganeen Miller, and Wilkie. Marks 18 for Zeeble, 16 for Stocker, 11 for Wanganeen Miller, 10 for Mackay, 9 for Wilkie, 9 tackles for Shields. Hit-outs 27 for Goldie, 14 for Logan Marshall, 4 for Owens. If you're wondering why Rowan Marshall only got the 14, he was out injured or out subbed out. Inside 50s locked at 48-48, which is a big improving sign there for North Melbourne. That is a massive improving sign. They can still go inside 50 that many times. Didn't have a great impact when going inside 50, but still getting those entries can be quite important. They did win hit-outs, but clearances 26-32, 4-10 out of the centre St Kilda, which is quite a low number for a game, but low number of goals equals low number of centre clearances. 22 apiece at stoppage clearances. Not much more marks, 127 to 109, quite a marky sort of game. 16 to 11 contested marks, also in favour of North. The Saints did lead for most of this game and definitely did deserve the win, 47 to 76 tackles. But yeah, definitely did deserve the win there. Did the Saints, they had to grind it out, they had to work hard. And in what was an interesting contest, a low-scoring contest, the Saints got the job done. Alright, so in terms of that round, Brisbane beat Carlton by 26, Richmond smashed West Coast by 46, Geelong got over the Crows by 26, Melbourne beat Gold Coast by 5, Dogs beat the Giants by 15, Fremantle smashed Hawthorn by 69, Port Adelaide beat Essendon by 5, Collingwood beat Sydney by 29, and St Kilda beat North by 30. We'll go to the ladder, and then we'll have a little look at what next round has in store for us. So I don't think live ladder will do anything. No, I don't. No, it won't do anything. So here's the ladder after round 8 officially. So if you want to have a little pause and look, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, things are definitely interesting, and we are starting to see this ladder shape up as well. And some games for the next few rounds for clubs are going to be absolutely critical as we turn to the next round of footy now. And we've got some interesting games, including a Friday night doubleheader. Interesting the AFL has done this. Richmond versus Geelong Friday night, and also West Coast versus Gold Coast Friday night. Two big Friday night games right there. And really season-defining for Richmond. I feel like that Friday night game is going to be a big season-defining game. They need to at least compete, I feel. But anyway, though, if you want to see more on round 9, make sure to check out my round preview. Sydney versus Fremantle, North Melbourne versus Port Adelaide, Hawthorn versus Melbourne, Brisbane versus Essendon, Carlton versus the Dogs, which should be a good game, Adelaide versus Kilda, which should also be a good game, and Collingwood versus Giants. There's some very big games coming up in round 9, but make sure you see my round preview or my tipping video, and the best way to see those videos. And if you want to see them first, please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That's going to bring an end to this video, though. Thank you guys. It was so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, so then you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys. It was so much. Bye everyone. Blame Footy out.